Hello and welcome to the TwinEagles Waterways series of short videos addressing the frequently asked questions about the lake banks and the current effort to repair the damage caused by erosion. I'm Mike Donovan, chairman of the Lake Bank Restoration Committee, and we're here at the number 3 tee box of the Talon, and I'm joined by Kara Barina, president of the TwinEagles HOA. Kara, tell us about the HOA's role in the project.
Thanks, Mike. As you know, the HOA is responsible for the common areas within the community. This includes the fundamental infrastructure items like roads and the stormwater retention system. Specifically, we are responsible for stormwater runoff as it applies to the environmental resource permit required by the state of Florida at the time of development. By following the mandates of the permit, the state is protecting its water system while allowing residential developments like TwinEagles to be built. In addition, the developments are then required to maintain the terms of the permit in perpetuity, and this responsibility falls to the HOA. The TwinEagles HOA has been working for some time on lake bank conditions, and we recently formed the Lake Bank Restoration Ad Hoc Committee. Details of the committee's efforts to date, as well as a full timeline of the HOA's efforts, can be found on the new and improved TwinEagles HOA website.
Thanks, Kara, and we'll get into some detail on how to access that website later on in this video. Our committee has spent countless hours on some obvious and not so obvious aspects of repairing the TwinEagles lake banks, including the state legal requirements, a variety of engineering options, the legal obligations to either the state, the homeowners, and the HOA, insurance liability ramifications, homeowner rights, property lines and obligations in both the Grand Arbors and the estates, developer and builder responsibility, HOA obligations including property access, to name a few. These topics were addressed throughout our due diligence, and some of them came up as homeowner questions during our town hall presentations and other conversations. We've managed these and other aspects of the project with a constant eye to minimize the total enterprise cost. By that, I mean keeping the cost of all parts of the project to a minimum and resolve the problem in the most cost-efficient manner to all of us homeowners. This and future short videos will touch on these and other topics. Today we want to focus on the state of Florida's environmental resource permit issued by South Florida Water Management District. We commonly refer to this as the permit from South Florida Water. As Kara mentioned earlier, this is the permit issued to the developer that authorizes them to construct and maintain the lakes and ponds throughout TwinEagles while conforming to the needs of the state of Florida to manage its water resource. The lakes and ponds are designed to accept the rainwater runoff, particularly the excessive rain during the wet season and occasional hurricane, then hold or retain that water while it drains through the soil, through our lakes, into the canals, and eventually into the Gulf of Mexico. The canal we're attached to is the Cocohatchee Canal, which runs along Immokalee Road and is part of the Big Cypress Basin, which is part of the South Florida Water Management District. Our ponds and lakes are designed to have enough capacity to capture the expected runoff and keep the rest of the community dry and keep it from flooding. Remember that after a big storm, all of South Florida is trying to drain the runoff at the same time through the same canal system. So the capacity of our lakes and ponds needs to be able to handle multiple rain events, especially during the wet season. Because our ponds are located within a residential community, we're required to maintain the slope of the lake banks at a minimum of 4:1. 4:1 is an engineering standard in Florida for the safe entry and egress in and out of the ponds. It's also used to minimize the amount of soil slippage in our sandy soil here in South Florida. The ponds were originally built to that standard, but in many cases have eroded over time. Here's what a 4-to-1 slope looks like. 4 to 1 and the resulting slope. It's measured from the control elevation, which is typically right around where the soil ends. The control elevation is what the level of the entire pond system is designed to function at. In some cases, erosion has moved the sod back or forward, but the control elevation you can see is kind of a general line there. The general line you see for the sod is pretty close to the control elevation. The permit also assigns some responsibilities to the operator, such as accessibility to the property around the water, and it also requires that the operator have the fiscal capacity to maintain the pond. These requirements of the permit are also enumerated in the HOA Declaration of Covenants, or the HOA Constitution. The HOA timeline referred to earlier, the South Florida Water Management District permit, and the HOA's Declaration of Covenants and other pertinent documents can all be found on the HOA website. Here's how to get to them.
If you don't have your TwinEagles HOA website bookmarked, you can find it by going to a search engine. This one's Google. Just type in TwinEagles Master, and that'll get you some pretty good selection there. Hit Google search, and there you have the different choices there. We're looking for TwinEaglesMaster.com, not TwinEagles First Services, and not the club itself. So let's click on the TwinEagles Master homepage, and we'll get the homepage. We're going to go up here to log in, register. If you've been to the site before, you'll need to click on forgot password, and it'll reset all your credentials to the new website. Enter in your email address, hit reset password, and you'll get an email with a new password on it. You go to your email and either remember the title or copy paste it. Go back to log in and register. Type in your email address and then the new password that you were just sent in your email. Either type it in or copy paste it and hit login, and that will take you to the home page. Now, if you have never been on this before, you can also access it by hitting login register, that same button. You click that, and instead of doing the login, you'll go to registration passcode, and you'll type in capital Twin, capital Eagles, one word, and hit send. And then that will bring you to this page where you register for it. You'll put your email address in, your password that you choose, name and address, and that information, and then you just hit sign up, and that will bring you to the home page. And what we're interested in here is this bar across the top that has a bunch of different categories. We're interested in lake banks. You click on lake banks, and these are all the different options that we talked about in the video. Different videos, articles from the newsletter, the actual South Florida Water Management District permits 1 and 2, the engineering reports that have been put out already, the timeline that Kara alerted to earlier. There's a big question and answers section there. And then in addition to that, we want to go to the documents. These are the HOA documents, and we'll click down here to the association documents and the actual governing documents, and then we can select from the list there. There it is, the declarations of covenants. All of the documents will be like this, where you could view it like this, or you can download the document if you want, but that's how to get at all of the documents at the HOA website.
So there you have it, a brief overview of the Lake Bank project, how the HOA is involved, the slope that we're trying to accomplish, and a way to access a lot of the documentation and other information that you might find helpful to help understand what's going on. There's the different articles, links, the permits, the engineering reports. All this stuff will give you a better idea of where we've been, what we're up against, and where we're going. Our next video will be, it'll explain the actual process of what happens when the lake banks get remediated. It'll talk about where the HOA's responsibilities end and where the homeowner's responsibility begins and ends. And it'll give you a better idea of exactly what's going on. So until then, I'm Mike Donovan with the Lake Banks Committee, and we'll see you next time.